What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. It's Mike. I'm the Hacktivist Mechanic. Today's a great day for me personally because the Arkansas Razorbacks won their first round NCAA tournament game, so I'm super excited about that. It's also a beautiful day here in Dallas, and I'm excited to show you my new project that I recently acquired. So without further ado, this is my 2001 Mercedes ML55 AMG. So I picked this up this past week in Shreveport, Louisiana. I got kind of lucky, I think, because a friend of mine was in Shreveport, which is about 3 hours away from Dallas, and I said, hey, go check this car out, I'm kind of interested. And he said, great, I'll go. And he and his brother-in-law went, looked, checked it out, said, all right, it's all good. And he drove it back from Shreveport to Dallas. Thank you, JP, for doing that. So why did I buy this? Good question. First of all, I got a pretty great deal on this. I know that there are millions and millions of these MLs for sale around the country here in Dallas, but the ML55 is a bit more rare, right? And I wouldn't have bought this ML if it wasn't an AMG. So it's almost the SUV cousin to my E55 AMG that you guys have seen. And I think I mentioned in the last one of the last videos that I was kind of looking to get back into SUV. I love the E55. I mean, it drives amazing. It's fast, it's smooth, great power. Love the way it looks. But I just don't know if I'm a sedan kind of guy. I think I'm a bit more of an SUV guy. I've got 3 kids as well, and we're going to soccer practice and basketball, and we're running around. And so SUV just might suit my lifestyle a bit better. You know, I'm not going to buy any kind of SUV, something boring. I want to buy something cool. And so I've been looking at Porsche Cayenne turbos and things like that. But the ML55 kind of intrigued me because, number one, I already know a little bit about the engine because it's virtually identical to the E55 that I have. And I just kind of am digging the AMG thing right now. So I got lucky. I found this one. It was on Facebook. The guy was a legit seller. He was selling it for a neighbor. And it's, you know, a bit of a hoopty, a bit of a you know, project car. I think I was inspired from Alex from Legit Street Cars. So thanks, Alex. He's the one that kind of inspired me to get the E55. And then he also sort of did an overland build on one of these. And so he kind of inspired me to go out and get one of these. I think the engines are relatively bulletproof, which is good. I know my E55 has been great. However, the build quality on these is not known to be great. So these were built in Alabama, and I believe Tyler Hoover called these the Alabama trash cans when he shit all over the Mercedes GL that he bought that was so bad. And I'll say I probably agree. I don't think the build quality seems to be as great, but it's a 350 horsepower SUV. This one's got about 150,000 miles, and it was dirt cheap. So why the hell not? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take you around the car and show you some of the issues that I've kind of seen and some of the work that I'm going to be doing on upcoming episodes. Body-wise, the paint's actually in pretty good shape, especially compared to my E55. Pretty happy with that. I don't love silver. I would never probably buy a white one, and black is my preferred color, but I don't mind the silver. It can be fine. We do have some clear coat issues here on the rear bumper, and it's just kind of trash. This probably could be something that could be buffed out, so that's not too bad. The major exterior concern is really this front bumper. You can see we have a massive hole here, and then there's a couple of cracks here, and this grill's all broken out. You know, not terribly easy to find these. Maybe for 500 bucks or so we can have it painted. I'm not sure if it's repairable. You can see this fog light here is kind of cracked, and this one's okay. That's kind of really the only major exterior thing. You know, I'm gonna buff out. I'll take care of these headlights. The wheels are in pretty good shape. You know, some light rash, and there's a big crack on the windshield up here, so probably need to replace the windshield. That's probably a couple $100 too. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the interior, the exterior. I think it'll clean up pretty nicely. Let's look at the interior, and it's certainly in much better shape than my E55 when I first got that. You can see the leather is just cracked, pretty normal wear and tear there. Something I think that could be cleaned up and shampooed. All the wood looks really good. The steering wheel's in good shape. That looks good. The dash is in good shape. It's got the original nav, Mercedes-Benz nav, although I probably change that because I'd like to have some Bluetooth. And then let's look in the back here. If we can unlock this. The back is in pretty good shape. That all looks pretty good. You know, need some, put some floor mats down here and clean this up, but really just needs to be clean. I haven't done anything to the car since I picked it up on Tuesday. So this is exactly how I got it. So, you know, just kind of dirty. There's some bits and pieces here. Can probably get going and fix. And then let's open up the back. You know, oh, there's my kid's scooter. Hood struts actually work, which, you know, is a fail point on a lot of these cars. But, you know, it seemed to be pretty good shape here. A lot of cargo, so pretty good size. You know, I like this size SUV because it's not huge. I mean, it's not terribly long. I almost feel like it's smaller than my E55. But I just, you know, I like the stance, and it doesn't feel humongous. Now, let's talk a little bit about some of the major issues and some of the things we're going to be fixing almost immediately. So I picked this car up on Tuesday. My friend drove it in, dropped it off. I literally drove it down the street, down the block, and drove it back. And I haven't really driven it since. Today is Friday, so it's been 4 or 5 days. There's no service history, as you would expect on a cheap Mercedes. The card for the last oil change says May of 19. So first thing we're going to do is change the oil. We'll change some filters, some air filters. But the major thing, the first thing I noticed was the brakes are absolutely shot. Now, my friend drove it back 3 hours and he said, these brakes are not great. And I said, well, that's fine. Maybe we can put some new brake pads in them. But I mean, here's some rear brakes, but you can just see here, and this thing has a massive lip, and there is very little, hopefully you can see that, very little metal there for the brakes to work with. So these things are absolutely shot. All 4 corners need to be done. Here's the fronts, huge lip here in the rotor, not much metal left. Brake pads are probably toast as well. So I've already ordered a full set of brakes that I'm going to do. Hopefully I'm going to do that tomorrow, because honestly I just don't feel very safe driving it. And I thanked my friend for driving it back, but I said you probably shouldn't have done that. So brakes, oil chain. It took me a while to figure out how to open the hood, because it's not a typical latch like you'd see in a normal car, but it's actually right underneath here. Pull that open. There we go. Oh. So this engine, very similar to my E55. In fact, I think it may be kind of identical. You know, relatively clean in here. I did get a low sensor for coolant, but it looks pretty full. I don't know if you can see, and I bought some coolant, but the sensor's kind of gone away. But opening them, one of the things I'm probably going to need to address is we take this cover off here, which is nice. At least we have the cover. Like, unlike the E55, we didn't have it. But this is very dirty under here, these valve covers. Very dirty. So I'm thinking we're probably gonna have to do the gaskets on these, which you know, we've already done these gaskets on the E55, so I think I could probably do it a lot quicker. Probably take this airbox off, and then yeah, it's really dirty up in here. So I'm thinking we'll probably redo those at some point after we do an oil change. So I'll do an oil change first, and then perhaps we can do another video and do the valve cover gaskets, and maybe do a tune-up, change the spark plugs, things like that. But you know, not much driving for me, so it feels like it pulls pretty good, but that's definitely something we're going to want to address. I haven't really been underneath the car that much, so I can't see like how wet. I haven't noticed it dripping anything, which is good, unlike most of my other cars. So that's a good sign. But those are really dirty, those covers under there, and I guarantee that the valve cover gaskets have not been changed in some time. So that's something we're going to want to address. Interior wise, I'm pretty happy with this, but one of the major issues, well, first thing is the air conditioning doesn't seem to be working. The previous owner said that it was blowing cold, but magically it wasn't blowing cold when we picked it up. And at first I thought it might be the blend door actuator, which is actually kind of in the back of the glove box. And there's a couple ways to fix that, but it's not making the noise like you would think when it does that. So first thing I'm gonna try to do is charge it with Freon. So I'm gonna do that first and see if that works. But another one of the big issues is the key gets stuck in the ignition. And this is a pretty common issue, but when you get the key in here, and it's sometimes so it won't turn there, and also can't pull it out. And so the previous owner said, okay, what you got to do is you got to hit the shifter and then it'll start coming out, right? So there we go. So basically what happens is there is the interlock shift mechanism, which when you push the brake, it unlocks it, but essentially locks the key in so that you can't pull the key out when you're driving. And so there is a button that gets pressed here when you put it into park, and then unlocks it when you press the brake button. So something's gone wrong there. So I need to figure out either fix the whole thing or kind of a full hack. Because right now the hack is you kind of bang the gear shift lever forward to unlock that button, but it's kind of annoying, so I want to get that fixed. Only other thing here is this A-pillar piece, which it looks like they tried to kind of jerry rig up here with the screw, you know, so if I screw that back in, it doesn't look as bad, but maybe there's probably some clips here that, yeah, there's some missing some clips, so gonna want to address that. You know, but hey, overall I think it's a pretty good deal for the amount of money that I paid. So the next question is, what am I gonna do with my E55? I don't really need 2 AMGs, or maybe I do. You guys can comment what you think I should do, but I'm kind of leaning towards selling it. E55, I feel like those values are going up, and it's a low mileage example, and there's a couple more things I need to fix before I sell it. I think I get top money for it, but I think an SUV might fit me better, and this is kind of a fast, fun SUV. And also, I'm not gonna feel too bad if something does, you know, I beat this up a little bit with kids and things like that, because I mean, realistically, at 150,000 miles, a good example AMG like this, I think, is maybe worth $6,500, $7,500, $8,000. Maybe, probably not. 8 probably is too much with this mileage and no service history. So I think that the upside is less on this kind of car than something like the E55. So I'm going to start working on this and get this fixed, and then I'll decide what to do from there. If you have any thoughts or think I should try to flip this or sell it or sell the other one, let me know. So anyways, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And I'm gonna start working on this thing in the morning, and we'll get some more videos going. So we'll see you again.